What's up, guys? So today I'm going to show you how to make these adorable newborn pants for newborn photography props. The materials you're going to need are one ball of yarn. This is Drops Melody, and I will put a link to that or something similar in the description. Scissors, of course, to cut. You'll need yarn needles or some sort of needle. This is thin, you could probably thread it through a big eye needle. A button if you want to, or two if you want to add little embellishments to your project. And 3 knitting needles. 2 of them US size 10.5, 6.5 millimeters, and one of them any size, either this size or maybe a little bit smaller. And you'll see why. You basically just have to hold a place with it. So we're really just knitting with 2 needles. And so the first thing we're going to do is cast on 38 stitches. I'm still sick. I'm sorry, I've been sick for I think 8 weeks now. So when I'm sniffling, I apologize, but just gotta get through it. So basically we're going to take about 3 feet of yarn. Just have it out to the side so that we can cast on our stitches. So we're gonna do the long tail cast on method. If you don't know what that is, it's actually not that difficult. It just looks difficult. We're gonna put our yarn on our knitting needle, take our 2 fingers, spread it apart, and then we're gonna take our bottom fingers and just kind of pull. So you see, you just take your fingers here, spread them apart, make a little diamond shape. Take your knitting needle, under here, and through the whole thing. And now you have 2 stitches on your knitting needle. Let's do it again. To spread your fingers apart, grab the bottom, take your knitting needle and go under this outside piece of your, well, I guess that's the inside piece because it's closer to you, but the yarn here closest to you. And then go underneath this yarn, and then you just pull it through the entire thing, just like that. So now we have 3 stitches. One more time. Under here, and then through the whole thing. So now we have 4. So we're gonna do 38 of these across. And if you didn't quite catch that, just rewind it and try it again. I'm using a dark colored yarn and a light colored needle to try and help out. So hopefully you can see it better. But yeah, go ahead and rewind it if you haven't quite mastered that. We're gonna do 38 of these. Oh, one thing I want to mention is the yarn that we have 3 feet of in excess of, we pull this way. The yarn that we're working with is our working yarn, and it goes this way. So that when we're actually taking our yarn, we're taking it up from the side that we put out, that we put off to the side. Okay, so we probably could have gotten away with maybe 2 feet of yarn in the beginning. So I have a little bit of excess here. I was thinking about a different project. So anyway, so now we're gonna turn our needle around, and this is where we're going to actually start knitting. So we have 38 on our needle. This yarn is difficult to work with, so you just have to figure out that this little piece right here is just fluff. You see what I'm saying? Like your stitches, it's so difficult to see. So I like to spread mine apart as I'm going onto the top here. And I knit a lot slower with this yarn too. Also, if you hear snoring, I apologize. My husband and I have 2 separate bedrooms actually. And this morning he came in with donuts and then fell asleep in my bed. I know, it's weird, it's a long story. But anyway, so if you hear snoring, it's because someone's actually snoring. Okay, so for the top of the pants, we're gonna create a ribbing just like we did with our bonnet. So we're going to knit, purl, purl, knit, and continue with that as we go along. So to knit, we take our needle and we put it in here. So we put it under this strand and behind the needle, just like that. Then we take our yarn, pull it around the needle, and then you take your needle. While you're holding this, you're gonna hold it steady so that it keeps the yarn there, and then push up, and then you're gonna knock that off. Pull it a little bit tight. That's all you gotta do. So you take your needle, put it under this yarn so that this front part here, so there's a back to it and a front. We only put it through the front. So you can see what it looks like. The back and the front. Take your yarn, take your needle, and push it through. Okay? Now we're going to purl. Well, let me explain this first. The reason we're creating a ribbing is so that the top of the pants will be a little bit tighter than the rest of the pants. And it's nice because it creates a feature without using different colors. So we're going to purl next. And the way we purl is we're going to take our yarn and take it to the front of our knitting needles. And this is going to be a little bit different. So instead of going through this way, we're going to go through this way. We only go through the front piece of the yarn that's over this part of the needle, not the back piece as well. And then we just do the same thing. We take our yarn, hold it tight, and then slip it to the back, just like that. And then you'll have to pull this one a little bit tighter. Pearls, you have to pull a little tighter. Since the yarn's already in the front, as you see here, we don't have to push it to the front, so we can go to our next purl. Take your needle through the front here. Take your yarn around, hold it tight, push it through. And you see this yarn is still from that loop, so we're going on this side of it. And then you just knock it off. Okay, so now we go back to knit, so we take our yarn, put it to the back. Okay. To knit, we go through this front piece of yarn, through there, around, and just pull it through, just like that. Okay, now we're going to go back to purl. So to purl, we're going to take our yarn, put it through to the front, to the front part of that loop, around, and then just like that. Okay, so back to knit. We're going to knit, knit, purl, purl all the way to the end. So just meet me back here when you are done. Okay, so your last 2 stitches should have been knit at the end of that row. So we're going to start this row, and we're going to start it with purl stitches. So we're going to purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl, knit, knit till the end. So stick it in like we've been doing before. Is that one? Yes, that's one. See, this yarn is hard to see. So stick it in there, pull it around and through. Tighten it up, stick it in there, around. Okay, put your yarn to the back and knit. So we're going to do this till the end of this row, and then meet me back here. You should have ended that row with 2 purl stitches. We're going to do 6 rows like this total. So right now we're starting on the 3rd, which is knit. So then the 4th you'll start with a purl. Then the 5th you'll start with a knit. And then the 6th you'll start with a purl. And the reason we're alternating is to create that ribbing effect. If I had done 40 stitches across, then we could have started with the knit stitch and stayed starting with the knit stitch the whole time on each row. But I went ahead and did 38 because I feel like this is going to be the best size for us. So Anyway, so let's jump in. Once again, we're starting this row knits and going to end with knits. Row 4, we're going to start purl, end with purl. Row 5, we're going to start knit, end with knit. And row 6, we're going to start purl, end with purl. So meet me back here after row 6. I wanted to mention I am actually about to start my 6th row and then go into the next. But before I get to that, I wanted to show you guys that if you set your work down and you come back to it and you, especially with this yarn, you can't see to count like, oh, what am I, do I start with a knit row or do I start with a purl row? But you see these right here where it goes over, that's where you're gonna have a purl. So like we know we're gonna purl, purl. These don't have the bars that go over. So purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl, knit, knit, bars. So purl, purl. And they're like I said, they're hard to see with this yarn. And also I wanted to give a disclaimer. So as I was going through knitting, I made a mistake. And I was spent 10 minutes trying to figure out what I did wrong. And at that point, I was like, well, I just need to start over because the time it's taken me to figure out what I did wrong with this yarn, I'd rather just go ahead and start over. So if you have made a mistake and you can't figure out what you did, start over. There's no shame in starting over, and you just have to have patience and you just have to stick with it. One thing I will say right now is if you're having a great deal of difficulty with this yarn, start with a different kind of yarn and just get your feel for it and look at the pattern once it's done so that you can pick out where you've done what, so that if you made a mistake, maybe you could fix it, if that makes sense. So anyway, I am going to meet you back here in just a second. All right, so if you've made it through your 6th row and now we're starting on the 7th, congratulations, you have already finished the hardest part of this project. So now we're going to go into stockinette stitch, which might sound intimidating, but it's a lot easier than this. So with our next row, we're starting now on row 7. We are just going to take our work and knit. We're going to do knit stitch all the way down this row. So we are done knitting and purling, and now we are going to knit the rest of the way and use stockinette stitch. By the way, guys, I realize my nails are like really, really ugly. So I don't know what I was thinking with my thumbs. But basically, I wanted to just do something kind of easy, and I put this clear coat on the bottom because I'm trying to keep my nails from getting yellow. So I was like, okay, well, I'll put this clear coat on the bottom and then I'll ombre white down with the clear. And I think it would have been fine if I had not put the clear coat on the bottom. Because what I found with this clear coat, and I haven't found one that works really well yet, but I've tried 3 different ones, and clear coats always make my nails chip for some reason. I don't know why. Let me fix this. And so basically I'd painted my nails in anticipation of this video. Wait, did I do that the wrong way? I think I did. So basically I painted my nails in anticipation of this video, and because I don't like to watch videos where the YouTubers' nails are really, really messed up, or their hands are dirty. I don't know. So anyway, basically I had painted my nails, and that night they got really, really chipped, and the next day. So what I'm going to do is try the same ombre effect. I mean, you've seen my videos, you know I like to do the ombre effect. So I think what I'm going to do is try the same ombre effect and just use the white and the clear, and then put a clear coat over it completely instead of one under it and over it. But you can see where I had tried to fix, where's a good one? So I tried to fix this one. You see it's wider here, and you can see it chipped all the way there. So then I had to go through and when I went through to fix, like it messed up down here and just all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I apologize for the appearance of my nails today. I will do better in the future, I promise. Okay, so just knit all the way to the end of this row, and then I'll meet you back here. All right, so we're at the end of this row, and my last stitch, turn my work around. And for this next row, to create the stockinette stitch, we are going to start with purl, and we're going to purl the entire row down. So just like we did before, take our needle, go in, put around, and through. And that's all we gotta do, and we're gonna do this to the end. So basically, we're going to, after we're gonna purl this row, knit row, purl row, knit row, and we're gonna do that until our work gets to be about 5 inches. So once your work reaches 5 inches, meet me back here. Okay guys, I couldn't tell you what happened to this yarn. I left and went and picked my son up, and in the car somehow I got this all tangled up, so we are just going to snip this. I'm gonna leave a couple inches here. I am at 5 inches this way, and we're now going to start on our second part. So I ended on a knit side, so I'll be going to the purl side to start. And this is where we're going to divide our pants up into legs. Okay, and this is also a way for me to show you how to attach some yarn as well, or how I do it. Okay, so I'm going to take your new yarn. I'm just going to push it through this little back loop here. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, so our new yarn here. And I'm just going to take all 3 of these pieces here and put them together, because I'm going to go like this, and we're going to purl. Since we're on the purl side now, take all your yarn, all 3 strands, and just like that, keep holding on. I don't like dealing with knots. Okay, 2, we're gonna do 19 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Yeah, so what I was saying is I don't like dealing with knots. I'd rather just knit them in if I can. So that way I don't have to tie knots and then sew them in at the end and all this kind of stuff. So just knit them in. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, and you know, if your yarn's not messed up or anything, you don't have to add any yarn at that point. So I just want to make that clear. I had to add yarn because I messed my ball up and it was all in a tangled mess. So you didn't have to actually add any yarn at that point. I just had to do it, and I just wanted to show you if you ran out of yarn how to attach. So now that we are done with our 19, we need to find a placeholder for this side. So I'm going to put another knitting needle in here. It doesn't have to be the same size, but I'm going to put another knitting needle in here to just hold the place of these. So this side, since we're working on this side right now, I'm just going to take these off of here. Did I just mess that up? Okay. So I'm just going to take these off of here because this is a different size. This is a size 10. And just put them on this needle right quick. Because I'm going to use the 10.5. If you have another set sitting around, it's more optimal. I actually do have another set, but they are in use, so okay, so those are on there, and we're just gonna keep that like that. All right. So we just did a purl side for this leg, and now, did we? Yes, we did, because this is the knit side, this is the purl side, and so now we're going to knit the other way. So same thing, we're just only using one side right now to get the legs. So knit this whole row, and then we'll go back to purl and then knit. Once you make this row about 6 inches, once you make this section, this leg, so this part from the starting point, which you'll know because of that, but here we go. So about from here to the end, about 6 inches, maybe a little under 6. Come back and I'll show you how to finish it off. So we're gonna knit this whole row and then purl the next one, knit, purl, just the same thing we've been doing for 6 more inches on this one side. So I am now at 6 inches from here to here, and I just finished a knit row. So if you have not done, if you are on a purl row, go ahead and do a knit row. And what we are going to do is, So we're on this side, so it looks like we're supposed to be doing another purl row, but to finish this off and to make an edge to, or a, you know, a finish, I guess we would say, to the bottom of the pants, we're actually going to finish it off with a knit row, and then we are going to bind off. So not purl. So just knit all the way across the row. So you'll do, so basically you're doing 2 knit rows in a row. This is called a garter stitch. So basically you knit across, and then instead of purling the back, you knit again. So you see it's putting the little bars that would be on the back for the purl across the front, okay? And now we're going to bind off, and we're going to bind off knitwise. Okay, so I'm going to stick it in to knit. Okay, pull it down, stick it in to knit, pull it down, and now we have 2 on here, okay? To bind off, we are going to pull the bottom one over the top one. Okay. And over the needle and down. Okay? I'll show you again. So we're going to do the same thing all the way down the line. Okay? So now we have 2. And we're going to take this one. Some people use the needle. I get all confused with this yarn using the needle, so I just struggle through with my fingers. Get it over that. See, now I just... Okay, got it. And off, just like that. Okay, next. My husband says I'm really terrible at knitting. His mom was a knitter. Anyway, he says I'm really terrible at knitting. And he is right. But it just goes to show you that with a little patience and perseverance, you can do anything, even if you're not that good at it. Okay, so we're on the last one. Pull it. You have one left here. Put you a couple inches there. We're gonna just little knot there. Okay. And you see, well, maybe you'll see on yours, your edging here. How pretty that is. Okay, it's time to start on our other leg. So we're gonna come back through and take these off and put it the other way. Put them on the 10.5 size needle. The next newborn pants video I do, I'm going to be showing you how to use the circular needles like we did in the newborn beanie video. If you haven't seen that one, this will be new. Okay, so we're going to start with a purl side. Just going to put our yarn right through here, right, just like that, just a couple inches there. That's all we have to do. And then we're going to purl. We just take both of our strands of yarn here, around and off. Tighten it up, around. Oh, you probably didn't do that. Around and off. So just like when I added on the other side, which of course you don't have to do unless you somehow got a ball of jumbled mess yarn as well. I don't know how I did that, but I just had to fool with it again. Okay, and then just basically we're going to purl to the end of this row just like the other leg. We're going to purl to the end of this row, knit the next row, purl the next row for 6 inches till the end. Okay, so I just finished my last knit side on here, and I'm going to do another row of knit. Sorry, I meant row, not side. To make that garter stitch we talked about. Okay, and now it's time for us to cast off once again. We're going to knit a stitch. Knit our next stitch. And pull it over. Just like that. Knit the next stitch. And pull it over here. guys, so now we have finished this part of our project and we're almost done. So this is the front of our work, and you can tell the front by the little V's. You can tell the back by the little bumps. So keep it on the front, and we're gonna fold over this leg here, and then we're gonna fold this one over. Okay. And the first thing we're gonna do is sew this down to here, right down to the little crotch area. So we need to cut a couple feet of string, maybe 3. Yarn, the yarn we used, and put it through. Oh my gosh, I can't even thread a yarn needle today. This is my life. Okay, there. A little bit of tail there. Okay, so we're going to take our top piece here, put it through the little edges. Oops, that's not actual yarn. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna pull it through and make our knot here. Okay. Now, what I like to do is take the ends here and go ahead and wrap them in as I'm sewing up my ends, so that way I don't have to tuck these in later. And we can actually make these just a little bit shorter too. So this one was from where we started our pants. Okay. So you just basically lift it up, and you're gonna wanna sew in between the edges, like right on the ends where your last knit stitches would be. You want to attach them together. And like I said, I like to keep this and sew it in while I'm doing this, just because it's like less work for me to do. Actually, let me turn it over this way so I can see it, where it is. I'm going to show you how to knit these pants in the round, and it's so much easier to knit these in the round. You'll see, like, I know a lot of people are scared of double pointed needles, but once you get the knitting process down, it's so much easier because you don't have to deal with this at all. This is my least favorite part of knitting. And we're just going to do this all the way down to the crotch area here. And if you need to sew it like this to see what you're doing, by all means do that. I just was turning it over so I could see these pieces of string right here, because this is black and this is really hard to see. I can't imagine what it looks like on camera because I can barely see it in person. Okay, so let's get down to right about here, and then we'll start sewing up our legs. Now that we are at the end of this part, we are now going to start sewing down one of the legs. Actually, let me do one more here. Where's that at? Okay, I have plenty of string left, so I'm going to start sewing down one of the legs. Let me get it lined up. And we do the same thing. We just combine all the way down. You gotta make sure and hold it as you do it because your pieces can move. You don't want to get off too bad. With it being small and stretchy, it's pretty forgiving, but you still want to get it as straight as you can. I meant to fold this up as I was going, but that's okay. Okay, and get down to the end here. Make sure and get the end really good because otherwise it'll have a little split in it. You don't want that. Okay. Make your little knot here. Okay. Now we're going to sew this back in. And I'm just going to go up through where we sewed earlier. Okay. Just to keep a little bit there. It doesn't come undone. And then I'm going to cut here. Keep some of it just in case. And then we're going to sew this end in. And we're just going to sew the other leg the same way. Make sure and get in good here down the crotch area. All right, so the moment we have all been waiting for, this is the inside, and it's time to turn them right side out. These are so cute, oh my goodness. And they're very, very stretchy, so they look really, really tiny, and they are really tiny. They're so cute, but they're so stretchy too. See that? So they'll fit a larger newborn as well. And if they're too big, if you have a preemie, you can always fold down. And since the inside has that bubbly look, and we did the ribbing up top, it'd still be cute. These are so adorable. And, ooh, let's see what they would look like with some buttons, a button on the top. Oh, so I'm out of white, like light colored wood, sort of like this color, but a little bit darker. How cute would that color be on there? That would be adorable. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm super happy with these little pants. They're just so cute. It makes me want to have another baby, but I really don't want to have another baby. I'm like 36, no more babies. Anyway, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications. And if you have any video suggestions, always let me know. A lot of times people make suggestions and I'm already in the works of them. Like this one, I had actually started this same tutorial and lost all the footage, so I just ended up having to remake the video. But anyway, yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week or the week after.